one of the worst things in indie games right now is the narrative design. And what's really separating a very good game design from a bad one right now is narrative design, unfortunately, because now many people know how to make a very good gameplay, but they don't understand how to make an actual words that is interesting to play through. So that's why many indie devs do in devlogs, if you've seen one, the problem of like in episode 63 or something, after he made multiple things in the game, he says, now I'm gonna add lore for the game, which is one of the worst decisions you could actually do, because one of the things that you need to do before even starting your engine is the pre-production plan, and one of the major things in the pre-production plan is actually story writing. But how can I make an actual story? I'm not gonna make a story of like, oh, there's a knight who wants to save the world from an evil wizard, and he's gonna go and attack him and save the world. This is a very bad design. So first thing that you gonna need to think about, if it was not the first thing that you wanna think about, you can make it like the third or fourth thing, which is called tagline, or maybe a promise for the story. So you need to make a description for your story in a couple of sentences. It's just a simple thing. It's used in every cinematic view in every game. There's just 2 lines that it actually is very useful even in your Steam page support. So when you want to make, in your Steam page update, when you want to make a Steam page, they're gonna need an overview, and the overview is actually the same as the tagline, or you could put your tagline. The second most thing that you really need to make a very, very big effort in is something that is called world building. See, the problem is that your game world is not something that you pull out of your ass like many people do, unfortunately. So this is something that you could do for prototyping, but you cannot just throw like, oh, I have an ice place that people live in ice, and a fire place and a poison place. It does not work like this. You need to make an actual world building for your story. So you start writing the story, for example, after World War II, and for example, you want to make it something realistic, so you take places from the actual world. If you want to make something fantasy like George R. Martin stories, so you need to make a very complex world building, like just like he have his own map, his own cities, his own cultures for these cities, and his own geographical applications for it. So the north is actually code and stuff like that. He have some old history of the world building like Valeria and stuff like that. So you need a very if you're going fantasy, it's very complex in world design. You actually need to start building the world from the start and the beginning of the earth itself till the end, or actually just write things about it just so things look legitimate when a player looks at it. This is happening to multiple big titles, but we just don't notice it, but it's actually what makes the game interesting, like Elden Ring. Actually George R. Martin himself wrote things and helped in the writing of the story of Elden Ring. So that's why the game is very fascinating in terms of world building. So you need to make a very nice world building. So let's see a template example of a world building. So this is a PDF, a very simple PDF of a word example of what's a world building file could look like. It could look way complex because this is just a template that we're gonna look. So as you see here, there's geography, natural world, locations of significance, weather, people, races and species. If you have like elves or stuff like that, you need to specify what are their culture, what the things that they do. Languages, if you have different languages, because sometimes you need to develop a language if you have something like very different from our world, just like the multiple story, like the Song of Ice and Fire. I think it have like some kind of language, I forgot what its name, or the Iraqis or something like that. So you need to have a languages. If you need to do that, you can neglect this for the purpose of the production time and just use in real languages. You have social frameworks, you have civilization, so the history of this kingdom, the history of this place, you need to write it down. The culture, what are the things that they are used to do. You can take references, of course, from real life. It would help you a lot so you need, of course, to do brainstorming before do that. The religions that they have, the education, the economy, the politics, the technology. Are they medieval? Are they sci-fi? What are the type of the geographical technology is? So as you see, this explains. You should have like something bigger than this, of course, because this is just a template. This, you need a file like this for world building. And I know many people gonna say, oh, why I just want to make a video game, why should I make it as complex as this? It's because making these details is actually what would make your video game different from others. So making world building as complex as this would help you in art direction and making an actual impressive unique art for your video game, which definitely gonna up the sales for a very big amount. And one of the things that's gonna help is the player being more attached to the world. Player want to play the game more, to explore this unique world, because now you did a very nice story, because story reflects on dialogues, on the art itself, the background art, the props, everything. Like, let's say a player is just walking in a medieval background, like a city that's medieval, or stuff like that. It would not look as impressive. Like, you walk, there's knights, there's shops, but the same thing, and in the background there's people burning somebody because they think, or burning some of the people just because they think they are like doing dark magic. So it's completely unethical to do it in their place, or they are burning them. When you are walking and you seeing this in the background, how people are very angry, yelling, they are burning in pain, and you see this disgusting view, seeing people and talking to them, and seeing some people agreeing with this and saying, yeah, they deserve it. Some people, they are like neglecting it, like don't even caring, like it's something normal in this city. And some people look angry of the action, like they should not do this, which are like something that actually happens in our real world. It will make the players spend more time in the area and actually take an interest in this world. Why this government, why their cultures is like this? Why did they burn these people? Maybe you can even talk to the families of these people, see how some families, they are agreeing with punishing their kids, and some are, no, this is something wrong and should be not be done to our children, that they are crying and you trying to help them, or stuff like that. Or maybe some of them that you make escape, like this could help you even in quest making for your video game, like a quest of helping a family of someone who is burned, that the government actually want to take and punish too, that you try to sneak them out of the village. It's a very interesting way to convey your gameplay ideas by using the narrative design and the story. This is the way, the actual way that could help you to make a very nice world design, game design, and an amazing game that's unique and rememberable for the players. Making him just show up some people and you talk to with random fictional dialogues that you just popped up off your ass and put it in there, not gonna be as impressive as real story development. So this is something, again, I'm not one of the most experienced people in story writing. I'm just a small writer that writes small stuff, because my real job is technical direction in video games. I'm more like a producer, technical director, than someone who knows to write a story. But I know the importance and the bullet points that I'm trying to convey here for you guys, so you can make a very amazing video game, or actually develop your video game into something more commercially mature and successful. Something that you need is character development. You have like an antagonist, a protagonist, and usually a supporting cast. Every single character need character development, so the game actually convey a message by this character development. Or actually don't think the people will see it like less of a rigid of a video game, because they will see the game like working, like things are developing, and the character of the characters actually change. So you need to write their name, age, locations, archetype, or personality type. You need to write the full history. When you are making a character design or character development, you need to write the story of every character you are making, since their birth to their death. This will make their character have more depth. I know it takes a lot of time, but it's gonna give them more depth in the writing. The dialogue's gonna be more interesting, and actually reading this even after doing the game or doing missions and understanding why the character is doing this thing sometimes get very personal and emotional to the player himself. Like, seeing just a villain that does bad stuff is not as interesting as seeing a villain that does this stuff to protect his country from other countries, for example. Like, he's killing others in war, he's doing mass destruction, genocide. You hate him, you really want to make this guy stop because you're seeing throughout the journey his destruction. But then you enter his kingdom, for example. It's just a stupid example, again, not a polished real story here, just giving examples. But then you get into his kingdom, see the people, how they are happy, how they are feeling good and safe, how they do really love him. So he's not just a bad guy that does bad things. Like, he does not, oh, I woke up this morning, I'm an evil guy that's gonna do evil things. He's someone that is doing something that he believes is right. Some people gonna get more depth in that character, see more, understand him more, not actually approving his things, just understanding him, understanding the antagonist, the protagonist, and the siding cast. Some shows actually even like get famous from side characters, like JJK, for example, Jujutsu Kaisen, Gojo, and Sukuna, and stuff like that. Sometimes writing a very good characters actually make your video game sell more and make it really interesting, and you yourself, you're gonna get related to these characters when you write them from their birth till their death. You're gonna need to make them, you're gonna feel way more engaged and less not motivated to make a video game. You're gonna be super motivated to make a video game because you feel like you want to put an end, a very respectful end, for these characters that you made from ground zero. So character development is one of the most important things to do. Here we have a simple plot diagram. So this is something very easy to understand. It's just usually there is this diagram that you're gonna see a lot. So I'm sorry, let's just get a bit down here. Yeah, so there's a conflict here. This is very simple, by the way. As you see, this is just a simple thing to see. There's a conflict arising of the action. After the conflict, so then the climax happening, so you probably heard of these from watching shows and only observing stuff. And after the climax, there's a falling of action and an actual resolution. This thing could help you in making the video game. Like, for example, in our kingdom example, there's a conflict of, like, you see village that are being actually people are killed, they are in war, the action is rising, more wars, more stuff, a grand war or a world war could happen. Then this is like the climax in the war, then it started falling, things gonna resolve, and actually you defeat the evil one who is trying to, like, protect his country on the behalf of other people by like initiating wars. So the resolution happens. This is a very stupid, again, not complex example, and again, this is just for story parts. You can integrate this in gameplay, as I experienced you in the, like, burning people example, because now you can make more dialogues, people can spend more time in your world, in your buildings, and in your towns, and actually get interest in making the quest. The quest gonna not be as rigid. Have you ever played like Assassin's Creed or some games like this and collect 5 rocks? This is a very bad quest. Like, making a family that you just saw their son or something like that, or part of their family, getting burned, and now you're trying to escape them from the town that they live in. It's completely very sad to hear. You really get emotionally invested in this quest, so it will help you implement better gameplay features and making your code an actual work of art really pop out more, be more unique, be more better for your players to experience. So game integration of the narrative design is an important thing, because you do not want to kill the whole gameplay just for the story. You want just to elevate your gameplay by using stories. You could do extra stuff like a story bible. There's multiple story bible templates. This are just the ground basics of making a story. Again, the best way to make a story is experiencing iterations, because you're gonna face a lot of problems. Ask for people feedback, ask for professional feedback, of course. This is gonna help you a lot in developing a very mature, nice story. And it's okay, making one story could take up a year or two. It's totally okay. It's a project out of passion, of course. We are not doing just mobile commercial games of Candy Crush and stuff like that. You need to take time to actually make some title that you really would love and be proud of in the future. So take your time in writing the story. Never neglect pre-production. You could do the story while doing some of the production, but don't like do the production of the gameplay, then try to integrate the story by forcing it into the gameplay. It's not gonna happen. The gameplay gonna be based on, as I told you in the previous examples, on the story. So actually the first step you need, usually in pre-production or stuff like that, is making the story. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I'm gonna release multiple courses or stuff that could actually help you, or the problems that I preserve, because I can't take you and make you another course or multiple courses about coding or stuff like that, but multiple people did it already. Many people know how to code, many people know how to actually run the engine. I'm gonna talk about stuff that actually make video games, indie video games, miserable a bit or fail. So I'm gonna talk about the stuff that actually is not being talked about in the industry, just to help you guys to make better video games, because I like playing video games and I like making them, and I know this information is being gatekept because I've been in the industry for a very long time. So I'm trying to help here. So definitely subscribe, hit that bell button. I hope you like the video. Drop us a comment if you disagree or agree. I try to answer all the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.